All right, what is up, Go World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I am back at you with another GOAT Format video. As promised, I have the GOAT Format World Championship top performing players coming in with me today. I have no stranger to the game. I have someone who is near and dear to my heart, as well as everyone, a super dope player who's been doing this thing for a long time. I have with me your third place winner, Mr. Insidious, co-founder of GOAT Format World League with myself and others. I am first. I just want to say congratulations to you and your performance. Making it to third place in the event with this deck did not seem like an easy thing to do, and you knocked it out in smooth, cool fashion, man. So first, I want to say thank you for that. Shout out to you for that, and congratulations. But first, I would like you to take a little bit of time to introduce yourself, Mr. Insidious, for those of you that don't know who this is.
Hello, my name is Insidious. Real name is Dmitry Samovsky. As you can see, my initials DS is part of why I named myself Insidious. One of my favorite horror movies. Yeah, I took Chaos Control to Worlds. It's a deck I've been playing with for past 3-4 years. And I was motivated by people saying it can't perform anymore, and I had a chip on my shoulder, and so we took it to Worlds. We qualified with it. We took it to Worlds, and by some miracle, we got to third place.
So when did you get in? When did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh in general, and then when did you stop, and then when did you come back, and how long have you been playing Ghosts since the revival?
I've had an on and off relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh, as with many people, but you can never leave the game totally. I started back in first grade, around 2001, with the Yugi and Joey starter decks. Played casually on playgrounds or campgrounds and such, MSC Negates, all that good stuff. I quit at 2005, ironically, so I kind of missed the GOAT format, actual format. I came back in 7th grade, so 2007, which has like Glad Beasts, Dark World, 6 Sams. Just beginning, and I was playing that a little more competent, but still noobish in terms of deck building. Retired again. Yu-Gi-Oh was no longer cool in school. And then in my senior year of high school, so around 2012, 2013 is when I came back to it again, and that's when I started playing competitively. I got back into it with Gravekeepers, realized that was just, it could not compete anymore like it did in years prior. Jumped on the Evil Swarm bandwagon during Dragon Roar format. That's when I got my first invite, and I was like, okay, like I can do this. And then I played competitively up until 2016, right before Pepe became a thing. I topped with, I got an invite with Fire Fist, top 64, 2 years after they were relevant, and then I just sort of stopped playing, came back for Nationals in Pittsburgh, and I stunk it out with Cosmos, decide, okay, this game's no longer for me, too much is happening, too much is being taken out for new things. I can't afford the game anymore, at least not yet. I was in college, and I quit then. But for Go format, I started playing in 2014. It was around half format. That's when that was my peak competitive Yu-Gi-Oh-ness. And I thought, okay, but I wasn't enjoying that too much. Let me see what people are playing. I saw people playing at regionals or at locals. Go format. I'm like, okay, this old Yu-Gi-Oh, what's so special about it? And then you start resolving the Trinity, and you're like, oh shit, it's pretty fun. At that time, it's like, okay, this is easy. If they can do it, I can do it. Makes it a little more chess-like. Yeah, I started playing Goats then, but it is a format that I cannot play in for a long time because eventually it does get boring and repetitive. So I would go on and off. It was around 2018 when the format library championship started existing with Jazz and such. That's when I started playing a little more routine, a little more consistent. Then I would quit again, come back, quit again. It wasn't until I think when the GFCs started happening in 2019, I believe, when I started playing again a little more serious, and then with the help of War League, it also kept my drive. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have left, just because of how boring Goats can get. It gets repetitive, it gets stale when you're doing the same things over and over again. But for War League, with people I met in the community, with people I talked to, it just made things a little more community-wise. So it's not just me playing randoms or strangers online and getting bored with us with that. Like, no, it's people I can relate to, talk to, and mingle with outside of just Goats.
Right.
And yeah.
Right on, man. I like it. I like the story. Your story sounds a lot similar to mine. I mean, I didn't play nearly as competitive as you did throughout a lot of times, but a lot of the stuff you mentioned about community and about being around people and playing the game, I think I can find myself in that. Also playing IRL too, man. You ran the Goat Grand Prix in Philadelphia. I showed up to that. I thought that was a fantastic event. Very well done. I enjoyed being a part of that, man. It was really cool.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing that. But we're gonna talk
Mhm.
about this Worlds event. Okay, so we got the Worlds that went down. You showed up to this event and you brought the patent pending deck. We're gonna pull that deck up right here. So here is the deck that your third place Worlds finalist decided to take to this event. It is the Chaos Control strategy. So this is by far and away my favorite deck. I enjoy this deck. I think this deck it means a lot to me. Tell me what this deck means to you and why you decided to hone your skills on this deck, play this deck even though it has kind of taken some steps back, and what this deck means to you.
I love Chaos Control. I like how there's always a backup plan for the most part. If things go south, if something gets solemned or booked or ringed, you always have a backup plan. It's a triple attack with the beaters or flips, with Chaos Bosses, and of course meta into Tear or Balter or Senshi, etc. So I like having the options there, and I feel like because I have those options and all those decision trees, it makes the deck a little more complex, and I can do it more with it than, say, a simpler deck like Warriors. And I know Bounty and Deal are going to crucify me for saying a simple deck, because no, it has its own merits and such. I just feel like Control can do more. I don't have to rely on simple interactions or simple game states to get ahead. And one of the decks I was considering was Warriors. There was a brief period earlier in the year where I did well with Warriors. I went 6-0 in a 3v3. But my team didn't do as well, so we didn't top. But I was like, okay, I was feeling myself. I can do Warriors. You know, maybe that's my calling. Because that was at a time I was being a little down bad with Control. It just wasn't. And then no, I got humiliated in a war. Thanks to somebody bringing zombies. Yeah, and I decided to drop Warriors, go back to Control. You know, that's my bread and butter. A lot of motivation came from players like Dale, who kept playing it and piloting it. And if he can do it, why can't I? Obviously, he's a better player, but it shows that the deck still has potential and can still win. The game didn't just run away into a turbo mess like other decks do exist. So again, I like Control. I like in the right hands, it can do a lot of damage. It can sneak up on people, and I definitely use that as a chip on my shoulder. People see Control, they see Insidious, they're like, okay, whatever. And then I like to stun them or play the underdog role, you know. Being from Philly, that's sort of part of my mantra.
But I mentioned that too I did a power ranking video. If you go back and check that power ranking video out, and I actually put Chaos Control as a B tier of decks for the specific reasons that you have stated. Is that not that it's a bad deck? I think it's a great deck. I think it can cover basically all the matchups, probably better than a lot of decks can. But there are just so many opportunities for this deck to brick. And like you said, if it's not in the correct hands, if you don't dedicate hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of play, you've probably put thousands of games on this deck in your dueling career to get as proficient as you are at this deck. So if you are just a newer player coming to this game, you're like, hey, I hear about Chaos Control. I think it's a great deck. I want to try it. Be prepared to if you misplay, it's very unforgiving, and it's a ruthless deck. But just tell me real quick about your deck, some of the tech choices you decided to make. I see you're playing the Upstart Goblins. I see you stuck with the Book of Moons, even though in this metagame, a lot of people feel Book of Moon isn't that good of a card anymore. I see you elected to go with the Regeki Breaks over the Wing Blast. Just tell me about some of those choices that you decided to make with this deck, and why you crafted it this way for this event.
So I was always a fan of Chaos Control with the real traps. I was not a fan of Decree because once your opponent figures out you're on Decree, you're just it's open season. They can just swing without fear. They can do your plays without fear. And I tried DCC, bless James or whoever played it, and top of it because I don't know how they did it. I don't think the deck is that good. Keep in mind, I lost to it in Worlds. But yeah, I do like my real traps. I like having real threats. I like the T sets with an active back row, that's a chainable back row. For Worlds, I took a deck that used those piloting. I made some inspiration with from Dale's build, and I decided to switch some things up. I was testing out different cards: Econ, Swap, Tribute to a Doomed, Share of Pain. And I thought, okay, they're all gimmicks. If I'm going to Worlds, I need to come correct. I need consistency. I want to see things when I want to see things, not just by chance. If it's a one-off, that's why I decided to bump up Book of Moon to 2, so I can not play as cowardly. I want to drop that PLS to banish that supposed faith I don't have to worry about a snatch or whatever. I can set a book. I wanted to play 2 break. Again, that consistency. Yeah, there's a chance I might draw open of 2, but there's a better chance that it'll just be available more throughout the duel. I believe break controls the tempo of the match. Wind Blast is cute. I just don't have enough resources to play Time Seal with my opponent and send him back a turn. Like, I don't have enough resources to do that. I need things that destroy, things that open up game shots, and such. I decided to run with Spirit Reaper over a second Kaiku. I got my invite with 2 Kaiku. I like it. It makes sense in a turbo. I just thought that I was afraid of not enough defense. I thought Warriors would show up more. Yeah. And Spirit Reaper is a pain to deal with. It actually did win me a couple games just because they couldn't out it. And then, of course, it's a threat on an open game state, open board. Swing with Spirit Reaper. They either have the Mirror Force or Book or Saku, or I snipe their hand. That was the big changes. I cut Dust Shoot out of the main deck, put in a side deck. Again, consistency. I was not about to lose to dead top deck Dust Shoots, and if I wasn't opening it, it wasn't doing enough for me. It's a good card. It just doesn't do enough if I'm not opening it. And I had a talk with that with my teammates, McMariners and such. We ran through the percentages, and Lucas can verify because I reached out to him about his calculator, and we just thought Dust Shoe is good. Turbo is going to be at least 50%, maybe, and but it's just not worth it because we like to hedge the bets.
Okay.
I thought, let me just do a break and book, more consistent, better cards throughout the entire game, not just in the beginning. For upstarts, I gotta keep up with Turbo.
Yeah.
It's a faster card. I get to my better cards faster. 1000 is whatever. We play control. We're not trying to kill you instantly. We're gonna grind you down, and it's an easy side out if need be. So
okay. I like it, man. I like the explanation too. I think it all makes sense. I like this deck. I will try this deck going forward in the future. But let's shift over. So first, before we shift over to the side deck, make sure tell me what you guys think about the main deck. Is it constructed the way you think? I mean, it made it to 3rd place, so it has to be pretty good. So tell us what you guys think about it. Make sure you get into the comment section.
One point is for the side deck, I do wish I played a Sora Priest. I was mulling over that decision the entire week leading up to the event, and I was like, how much do I need Hysteric Fairy versus how much do I need a Sora Priest? And at both points made sense. You know, Panda's scary. I know what Panda does to his deck. Hysteric Fairy knocking out two trios will be so clutch, especially in a Swiss format where it's time. One of my matches against the Geist, I sided it if just going to time. And Sora Priest had its merits too, you know, against Goats, against Reason Gate, etc. And with all the hype that's been happening with Go Control, I thought, okay, maybe we'll see some of that. I just figured I'd see more Panda than I see Go Control. That was my biggest regret, is not me siding the Sora Priest. If I did, maybe I'd be playing in championship.
I mean, you gotta roll with your instincts. You gotta roll with your gut sometimes. But tell me about the rest of that side deck. I mean, it seems pretty standard stuff. It seems like you have a lot of the matchups covered. Your ratios kind of indicate your consistency plan that you were kind of going with. But tell me about some of the cards that you said overperform. You already mentioned how Hysteric Fairy didn't really do it for you. What are some other cards that really did great for you, or any other cards you would have changed out in that side deck going forward if you had to do this event again?
In the side deck, I'm going from memory. I liked the Tsuk against the Warriors twice. I liked the Swords Revealing Light. It's such a good card. At this point, it kind of feels like I should be maining it. Yeah. I side against Warriors. I side against Pandas. A Turbo, not really, but in time, it makes sense. If you're playing a Swiss format, I feel like Swords could even be mained. It's that good. I used it. I brought it back with Faith in one match. A lot of times it worked out well, so that overperformed. Dust Shoes didn't do shit. I never really drew them, at least not as much as my opponents did. And if it was vice versa, again, maybe I'd be in a championship. Smashing was good, won me a game against Kui. Karibo never really came up, but I was ready. You know, we were ready for that, for any Panda or RGT shenanigans, but Karibo never came up. What else? Mycons. My cons are decent. Definitely got a side 2. I used to side 1, wasn't enough. that's really it. So yeah, it was a Source that overperformed, and the Tsukes that overperformed. Hysteric didn't do anything. Oh, and Berserker Rose.
Yeah.
Hysteric didn't do anything. Dust Shoots didn't do anything. But Dust Shoots are necessary evil, so I would still side them. But it's tempting to cut them for Nasura or a second Kaiku.
Okay. Well, give it a shot. You guys be the judge. You tell me what you think. Give it a shot. I like the deck. I think it's put together well for the event with the information that you had available. But tell me about the event. Tell me about your tournament experience. How was that being in Worlds? Talk to me about the nerves. Talk to me about the anticipation, being on stream, playing against all of the very best players all day long for 2 days in a row. Tell me about that grind and your preparation to get to the Worlds, your time during Worlds, and your thoughts on how you finished.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's nothing I haven't done before. I did it back in 2020 when I got top 16. Swiss format, that's not really something I'm good at. For some reason, I do better in double elimination. I always look at big tournaments with all these tough players. I sort of related to like the Chunin exams in Naruto. You know, you walk into a room, you see all these bad like good players, like, you know, these badasses.
Powerhouses.
And you feel like, oh shit, you're like another cog in a machine, and it's time to play spoiler. And I was talking to Bobby Buckets, like, we're gonna play spoiler. We might not win this, but we're gonna ruin a lot of people's day. Yeah, so I just came prepared. I know what I'm capable of. I just gotta it has to be my weekend, and I've been telling people all along, it has to be your weekend. You could be the best player, you could have the best deck. If the cards aren't in your favor, you're not gonna win. For me, in this case, it was. So I could go round by round.
Yeah, just talk. If you can remember off your hand, just some of your matchups, who'd you play, and how they go throughout Swiss and then into Top Cut.
So 7 rounds of Swiss. So round 1 was against Agent Broken, 2-2-2-2. He was playing Panda Burn, I believe, with Chain Energy. Scary matchup, scary player. He got second place at GGP Connecticut. There was one part in game 1 where he had possible game where he was going for a game shot. He had Rat in attack, summoned Lily, swings with Lily. I ring his Rat to get him under 2,000. He can no longer pay cost, and he crashes and loses. Game 2, he didn't see a monster, or at least not enough monsters to stay competitive, and I just played aggro with the gorillas and such. So that was that. Round 2 was against Richie, 97. Italian player. He was playing the Creek Chaos Control. And I commended him for that. You know, it's awesome to play against other control players, especially at Worlds, you know, represent. Game 1 was long and drawn out. He BLS'd me. Game 2, he OTK'd me. Heavy BLS Stork. Hey, I can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
So we had a nice conversation afterwards. I wished him luck, and he did make top 16, so that definitely helped my tiebreaker. And I'm excited to see him at the War League. Round 3, I got paired up against Pui. We didn't start playing. I was watching the stream, waiting for TK to give us a go, and I'm watching the stream, and they're playing, and then I see the mess up in the brackets for round 3. I'm like, oh my goodness, they're playing. Pui and I are just waiting cordially. Eventually we get repaired, and I tell Pui good luck, you know, and I ended up facing Ryan Spicer, and he got he won the GGP Fort Worth.
Yep. He's a legacy player, man. He's classic Shonen Jump champion. He's got some serious accolades in this game as well, man. No slouch.
Those are my favorite players to face. I love facing against old greats because I like to put them in their place.
Dang. Oh no. Oh, shots fired. Oh no.
Again, he brought warriors. You know, I do respect him as a player. He is scary. I won 2-1. It was back and forth. Like, it could have went either way. And again, my weekend. So I won that. He also made top 16, so that helped my tiebreakers. Round 4, funny enough, I got paired against Pui. So we did actually end up playing each other, RGT. Game 1, she apparently had a game shot that she didn't see, and I came back and won. Game 2, she had DMOC and Air Knight on the board. DMOC got back defusion, so she was going for a big play next turn. I had to get her under. I had enough monsters. I flipped them up. Thousand Eyes to her DMOC, smashed the Air Knight to deliver, I believe, Breaker, DD, and DMOC. Oh yeah, because I booked the DMOC after he swung. That was nice. After he swung to get additional damage, additional 31 with the beaters. Got her down to under 2,000, and I had a Karibo in hand just in case she tries to do anything cute. And she even said, "Whoa, like that was a good play." And like again, that's the kind of plays you gotta do at Worlds. You gotta do it unconventional, you know. So that was good. That was a 2-0 round. That was
4.
2, 3, that was 4. Round 5, I faced against McMariners. I was afraid of it. McMariners is one of my newest teammates. I believe he goes to your locals.
He does go to my locals, man. We just went to locals the other day. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Dope player.
I recruited him when I saw just how well he was doing in the Patreons and such. Like, he's a good player, good turbo player. I won in time. I went aggro with the Chaos Sorcerer, I believe. And then when it came to his turn, he had the walk, but he drew a Kaiku. When next card was a BLS, he sees a BLS before the Kaiku, I lose. Again, it was my weekend. So, again, could have went either way. Time definitely helped me maybe steal it, maybe not. I don't know. Round 6, I faced Geist. That was one of my 3 times that I faced them, and I won in time, 2-1. Game 1, I decked them out. When you see that they're approaching 10 cards, and you see what's that board, you see how much is in hand, you sort of have to shift your game plan. Against control, it's long. It wears you out. I wasn't gonna beat him with all those goats, so I had to do the next best thing. Block any chance of him killing me, and yeah, he decked out. He won game 2. I believe I choked that. I don't know, or at least I had so much advantage, but control could not get me there. And then game 3, I won in time. He apparently had game, or he could have had game with a premature play with Abyss Soldier. He set the premature. I heavied. I'm guessing he set the prem because he had the emergency provisions to get him extra life. It wasn't enough though, and I won that. And then round 7, I faced against Ace. He was drafted in the first round accidentally in the fantasy thing. Yeah, good player. He was LTAing one of those weekends. Great weekend. I won 2-1. Tough game. He saw Dust shoot like every game. Opening turn. I can't really recall much in that match. All I know is that I was able to. He used more resources than I needed to, and then when it came to clutch situations, I just had more cards to play with. So that was that. So I finished day 1 with a 6-1 record, 5th place, feeling good. You know,
you gotta be feeling. I mean, you gotta be feeling great because you beat damn half of the top cut. I didn't know your run was so tough. You had a pretty tough run. You beat guys. You beat A's. You beat Richie. You beat who else? And Ryan Spicer.
I beat Ryan Spicer. I lost to Richie.
You lost Richie.
Yeah,
okay.
So 1 Panda Burn, 2 Chaos Turbo, 1 Warrior, and 2 Gold Control, and 1 Reason Gate Turbo. So I got the flavors.
Yeah.
I got all the flavors, you know, and that's exactly what my side deck is built for. I don't just focus on 1 or 2 matches. I have the Karibos for the Panda Burn and the RGT. I have the Dutch Shoots and Minecons for the Turbo. I have the Gorillas and the Swords and Smashing for the Warrior. So I came prepared, except for the Asura. So that was that. So day 2, that's when I was actually most nervous. I was most nervous because I already knew who I was facing. I was facing this Arvind. I had to play correctly with him. I had to play calmly, had to play and such, watch every interaction and such. And I won 2-1. Again, it was close. I believe I had rank for game. Not sure. And yeah, so once I got past that, I just thought, like, now I'm playing with house money. Where I get, I don't care. The second round I played against John D. Wick. I also had the pleasure of meeting him at Connecticut, known as Shades 4, J4 Druin.
Yeah.
This is a part of the tournament where I loved it. They gave me the cheat code. They gave me the receipts. They gave me the deck list. You cannot do that with me. It's like I was playing with a bot.
Yeah.
And I knew what his deck list was. He wasn't making Nox. He was making triple Minecon. To me, that's scary because I'd rather my faith in Decode to get banished instead of him taking it and resolving it. So I didn't set anything. I had not said anything good. Sangans, the Reapers, have at it. And he actually did get baited by those. It was a 2-0. I won game 1, again, just knowing how to play around his deck. And then game 2, he had the smoke screen into goats.
Yeah.
Okay, so if a turbo deck is smoke screening into goats, you're essentially playing a worse chaos control deck.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, it just worked out in my favor. Again, great player, even better person. But I had to do it to him. It's what the deck does. Then the next round, I faced Geist. He two me. Nothing to talk about. He resolved the jar, I believe. Whereas in our first match in Swiss, I banished both jars. And he just had his way with me. He got his revenge. Cool. Then I faced against Bobby, and that was for top 6. And it was hilarious, because me and Bobby, we go back. Love the guy. I want him on my team, but UI stole him.
What? That's we don't steal, man. He chose the better destination. But I'll let you go on. I'll let you go on.
And we even tested like the night before Worlds, and like just talking things over. So if there's anybody who knew my deck and had to play against it, was him. I won 2-0. Things just went in my favor. They really did. And like the things that happened in our match were not happening during testing. Like in testing, he was like giving me the losses, but at Worlds it worked differently. And again, it was
the control deck does have a standard advantage, especially the way yours is built. Has a slight advantage over a typical warrior deck. And Bobby is no like slouch. He's a very talented warrior player, but control typically has a slight advantage over in that matchup, in my opinion.
I think it's a 60-40.
Yeah.
Before siding, after siding, maybe it's like a
maybe
60-35. Yeah, they bring in the Asura. Yeah, they bring in the King Tiger. But I bring in my Berserks, my Swords, my Smashings, etc.
Yeah.
I take out the bad cards against the matchup, so it only boosts my deck. And I think the Gorillas got there. Yeah, the Gorillas got there. The Swords got there. I think that was the match where I resolved Faith multiple times. So that was that. After him, I got the other UI member, Shaggy. Fantastic person. And I was definitely eating my words, because leading up to the event, I kept telling him, don't take this deck. Earth Aggro is not going to get there. It is a gimmick. And he shut me up. He did it, and I'm happy.
I think he shut up a lot of people. A lot of people felt the way you feel. Hey, Earth Aggro, you're not even playing BLS in the greatest tournament in the world. You're crazy. It'll never work. And yeah, look what happened. So I shout out to Shaggy for that.
And we saw what happened. He just stomped me. He blitzkrieged me game 1. Attack. I couldn't do anything. So that was that. And then game 2, we slowed it down. There was a moment where, and you can see it here, I was looking through his deck. I had a game shot with a sorcerer, but I was afraid of his back throw. He did not use Torrentially, and I was afraid of it. And I was just going between tabs, like, okay, let me study his deck. And then I realized he doesn't play Torrential. Okay, drop the Sork, Metamorphosis into Ryu Senshi, flip the Thunder Dragon, swing. If that's a Mirror Force, I don't care. I have enough life. And that's exactly what happened. And then game 3 was just, I believe he stopped seeing playable monsters, and then I had the Kaiku that he could not bring out his Gigantes. And I eventually, that got me, with Berserk Gorilla and the D War Lady as well. We got there. He was also surprised that I had a knock for his Giant Rat, but for his set, which I did for a Giant Rat, and it actually worked in my favor. So that is Geist again. I did not want that, because I know that he can beat me. His deck is geared to survive long enough to do plays. Yeah. And he has enough flips to bait me out of my knocks and mind cons. Like, those jars are crazy. And he won 2-1. I didn't go down easy. I definitely forced a game 3. I almost won game 1 too, but I thought that I locked him out. His board was locked, but he still had 2 monsters, and we both knew it would take a DMOC to make him come back, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah,
it was just a matter of time before he got to that thing too. It was
just 10 cards left, and I did not have enough to protect myself, and eventually he won. Game 2, I dragged it out, but you could see that I was starting to slip. It was a long day. We were grinding it out. I did a stupid play where I did that was nice. Suck, bring up the Tsuk, swing, flipped it, and I tried to flip the Thousand Eyes again. I can't do that. So that messed me up, and the stream definitely caught that. Luckily, it didn't make me lose that. But game 3, he had the Pie Greed. he had a first turn dust shoot, and my day was over. If that doesn't happen, I do like my chances against Dingo Sig. I had the side deck for it, but again, it wasn't in cards. And you can check my player interview. I said before day 2 started, I'm gonna get my revenge. I'm gonna go to the top 4, and then someone with a better weekend is gonna beat me. And that's exactly what happened.
Man, you should have manifested it. You should have manifested the other stuff back in. Like, hey, I'm gonna win the whole thing. Don't say you're gonna lose.
Right, I wrote my own eulogy because I am realistic about these things. I know how goats what happens in goats, So I was happy to get where I was until I found out that second place was against an invite, and then I was kind of pissed. So,
I mean, it's still a great weekend, man. I think it's still a great weekend. I think it's still a great performance. I think you did phenomenally well. You played the deck that you enjoy the most, and you had an outcome that a lot of people would wait their entire life and never get to where you've gotten playing this game forever. They never accomplish what you've already done, man. So I think it's something to be extremely proud and honored to have accomplished, in my opinion. I don't know.
I'm happy. I'm great. Again, the deck worked beautifully. Barely any bricks. Barely any sackage by my opponent. Things could have went wrong so many times.
Yeah.
Luck was definitely involved. It's Yu-Gi-Oh. It's goats. It's why I top and maybe somebody who was supposed to win it all does not. It happens. Do I think the deck control is the best? No, it's not. I think Turbo's still the best. Definitely gives you most opportunities on a consistent basis. But I am happy with how control definitely showed that it can win.
Yeah, and it was highly represented in the top cut of this event. I'm very impressed. I like the parity. I like how things get pretty circular in our format too. So people think it's all solved and it's all figured out, and then bam, you get hit with an Earth aggro. Or people think, hey, this deck is dead. This deck is trash. No one's playing Go Control. No one's playing Chaos Control anymore. That deck's trash. And then boom, you get hit with 3 decks in the top of the event. Or 4, I guess, in the top cut of the event. So that's always something I think is something dope about our format. How it just constantly revolves and changes, even though the format is 20 years old and the card pool hasn't ever been updated. That's neat.
I think the top 16 and top 8 and top 6 was a great representation. It's not just Turbo. If you're trying to pick up goats, don't just throw about Turbo. No, you get Chaos Return, Aggro, Warrior, Chaos Control, Go Control. The deck format shows variety, and that's one of the criticisms for Go Control or Go format. It's either you're playing Detox, or you're playing Turbo and such. No, there's more to it than that. And so I thought the tournament itself was great. We had a little blunders here and there, and then we did have some delays. But for the most part, I thought the tournament was ran well. What time around definitely screwed over some people, but that's to the game, and at its purest form, it is playing in real life.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I love it, man. I like what you had to say. I really enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys think. If you're watching this video, tell me what you think about Insidious' Chaos Control deck and his tournament experience and his performance. But Insidious, man, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're in the whip, man. Like you're about to go Tokyo Drift somewhere and get up out of here. But for real, before we shut it off, man, give me some special shout outs. Let people know where they can find you and people who helped you get to where you are. Let them hear
sure.
about it.
So where you can find me? So I am Philly based. I am planning on hosting another GGP in Philly early next year. So definitely come out for that. We had 58 people. We had 64 pre-registered, but we had 58 show up. It was a great tournament. We'll definitely do it better this time and be more ready. I'm really enjoying these GGPs. I feel like they're great, especially for people now. We're older now. We can afford to travel and such. So I definitely want to use the prize money to go to Orlando to go to Shaggy's Corner and play the GGP there. You can also find me in War League. We're going to be starting season 2 really soon. We're expecting 20 to 25 teams. We're going to have it should be fun. We took the things we learned from season 1, and we're going to implement new things. And it's going to be fun. Besides that, shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my current team, Birds of Prey. Good group of people. Excited to see what we do for the season 2 of War League. I want to give a shout out to my former team, Team Damage Step. They took me. I was a random detox scrub, and they turned me into a competent control player. Give a shout out to UI. I really like that team. You know, Shaggy, Bobby, like they were there for me. They're great. AJ Hussein, indoors, he's been marvelous as a chief so far. Yeah, give a shout out to everybody who reached out to me, congratulated me, both in real life and online. I really do appreciate it, and I do play for ego. Like it does matter to me in that sense. So yes, it is feeding my ego, but it's also like it's appreciated. It's really appreciative because I'm one of the few people, or only people in Philly, and so in the area that pushes goats. Like I want more goats, you know, and people just write it off. They think, oh, you know, let me just make unbreakable boards in current, and that's more fun. So I'm definitely one of the few that still talk about goats or promotes it. So it was nice to see that my work wasn't for nothing. Like I was able to talk a talk and like
back it up with the results.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, shout out to the War League. Again, that's a place to be now. It's fun. We get good competitiveness there. Good discussion there for the most part. I'm not looking at you, Kuro. And yeah, that's all I have.
All right, man. Well, dope, dude. Hey, thanks for dropping by, man. I really appreciate everything you do for the community, everything you do for the War League. We all appreciate you, man. And no one ever can take away your world's topping performance. You're gonna have that with you forever, you know. Yes. Shout out to that. It's always gonna be there. But I appreciate you dropping by, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace.
All right, folks. That was Insidious, your Go Format World Championship third place deck. Tell me what you think about that deck. I love Chaos Control. Do you like Chaos Control? Is it your favorite deck as well? I enjoy the deck for all the reasons that were described in this video as well. So I'm going to continue on. We got Shaggy. We got Insidious. Now look out for Geist D. That should be coming. And then the World Champion Dingo Seg will be coming. So make sure you stay tuned. Keep it locked to this channel. And also in the Discords. Join those Discords. And you can also be a part of that as well. So dope. All right, until then, shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. I'm JDZ. I play GOATs. Until next time. Peace.
This program was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.